Good morning, everyone. Good morning to all of you who have joined us today for this webinar on how to understand as well as complete the EEA form for your EE reporting.
Let me start by just indicating why, as IEA, we thought it would be important for us to do this. We believe that since the new reporting form has been put in place, that many employers have really struggled to understand the instructions or to fill it in the way that it was intended to be filled in. And we saw this primarily at the end of the reporting season when the Commission and the Department of Labor tried to analyze the data. It was quite clear that the different employers had interpreted the instructions differently, and as a result, the information could not be relied upon because it was not standard. It was not based on a standard that everybody used. Everybody understood the instructions differently, and the result of that was that the results were not as useful as we would have liked them to be. So as a result of that, you will know that you then received additional guidelines from the Department of Labor to assist further in interpreting and understanding the instructions. And then as IEA, we thought it would be a very good idea just to run through the instructions and to assist employers in filling in the EEA4 form. EEA4 form is used to collect information for the assessment of the remuneration gap between the highest paid employee in an organization and the lowest paid employee. That's the first one. The second one, to assess inequalities in remuneration based on race or gender in the various occupational levels. And then finally, to ensure that employers are paying the minimum wage. I love the preamble of the Minimum Wage Act, and it says, recognizing that the Republic of South Africa is one of the most unequal societies in the world, and that there are huge disparities in income in the national labor market. Secondly, noting that there's a need to eradicate poverty and inequality. Thirdly, acknowledging that there's a need to promote fair and effective competition in the labor market and labor market stability. And finally, noting the constitutional obligation of the state and employers to promote and fulfill the rights to fair labor practice, providing for a review and annual adjustment of the national minimum wage. In calculating the remuneration, the employer must make sure that when you do the EEA4 form, you make sure that it fits in with the reporting that you've done in the EEA2 form, which talks to the demographics. So the two must tie together. And you'll see when we talk to one of the forms, I think it's section C, it actually asks you to bring some of the information from the EEA2. In fact, the system brings it in itself, and then to make sure that there is a correlation between what's happening in the EEA2 form and the EEA4 form. There are three different ways in which it is recommended that employers would report their short-term incentives, and I'll go through each one of them individually. I'm now going to move on to discuss long-term incentives. Long-term incentives really apply more to companies that are really large organizations. Mostly these would be JSE listed organizations. So in this case, how we define a long-term incentive, it's a payment or an award settled more than 12 months from the reporting year end, where the measurement of the value when awarded or when vested or when settled can differ drastically in terms of timing and amount. The policy should serve as a guide on how employees are remunerated, and all benefits as well as additional forms of payment should be included and explained in the policy. Question E goes on to ask more qualitative questions, and it goes on to say, please indicate whether your organization has a policy in place to address and to close the vertical gap between the highest and the lowest paid employee in your workforce. The answer would be yes or no, simply. Okay. And over the years, what the Commission has found is that these policies don't exist. So what it means for us as employers is that we have to now go and make sure that we develop policies to do this. And AYE is one of those companies that can assist employers in really putting together a remuneration policy that would cover all of these factors. So should you need our services. So I think that covers the filling in of the form. I hope the explanation makes sense and that it has helped you to understand where you have been stuck in terms of how to fill in this form. And thank you for taking time to be in this presentation. Our contact details are here should you need our assistance in terms of the reporting and assistance with EE Plan.